I think I'm going to go back to Ohio in the fall.
Are you?
Yeah. Spend like, I don't know, 2 weeks out there. Maybe in late September, early October, when they're starting to rut and you start to see deer all over the place.
I'll put in for Iowa again just for shits and giggles.
We need to do that. Fuck. When does it? You need to tell me when it.
I gotta remember when it is. I may have missed it.
Because if he's got stands out there, if your guy out there has stands, I have a saddle, which is mobile. It's literally a lineman's belt made for hunting. So like lineman's
Yeah.
holes and stuff like that. Like 100% mobile. So we could like get up in the tree stand. You could sit in the seat, and I'll be literally like maybe um, 3 feet above you, like, and
Yeah.
and it's like I'm just hanging off the tree, and it doesn't hinder you at all because I can get probably 310 degrees around that tree with a saddle.
It'll be an experience for me. I've never eastern whitetail hunted.
It's very boring, man.
Soaking glassing out in the desert.
Yeah, but it's almost like you're like with glassing. I actually enjoy glassing. I really do. I know that Austin fucking hates it, and a couple other people that we hunt with hate it. I enjoy it,
Yeah.
like, because I don't know, like, it fulfills the adventure in me to like get up on because you can literally go out there and make it as easy as possible and just like get on top of a hill or something like that and do some glassing, or you could go like, hey, you see that peak over there? I'm gonna fucking get on top of it, and then it's just like that's some of the funnest shit I've ever done. And I in the Kofas 2 years ago, I just got up on top of the peak right outside of camp and glassed down. Saw some bighorn sheep. That was fucking awesome. But like, there was this cutout on the side of the peak where it was literally like sitting in a lawn chair where you've got like it just kind of like wrapped around it. It was a perfect flat spot for me to sit, and there was a platform right like that where I put my tripod, and I could literally glass 180 degrees, and it was so comfortable. I was like, I had to like pinch myself because I was up there, glassing for like a really long time, and then I kind of like looked up and I was like, this is fucking awesome, man. But when you're in a tree, you can't fucking move.
No.
And there's decision like when you're on top of like a mountain, the decision to move to like the next like like because where that peak is, it kind of follows like it's kind of got like a plateau on it where you can follow it around. It's kind of crescent moon shape. That you're 700 feet up. So like the decision to move is not that big of a deal. You could go back and forth all day around there and, do stuff.
Nothing will notice.
The decision to move in a tree stand is something that every single eastern whitetail hunter is like, just they've had an existential crisis about, where it's like, fuck, like, do I move? Like, is this right? If I'm going to move, is this the right time? Like, am I like, is the wind gonna shift after I move? Is the wind gonna be different over in that spot? Like, it's just like it's like, am I gonna move and then um, drop my scent everywhere? Am I gonna move and like a deer's gonna walk past the stand that I was in, and I'm in a new stand and nothing's gonna come by? It's like everything is so uncertain because there's no like, I describe like Western hunting as like actual hunting. You are searching for something, and you have to look for something to search for, like look through binoculars, like walk around, like do stuff. in eastern whitetail hunting, I describe it as like all theoretical, because you're hunting around, like if you're private land hunting, you can, like, put out, feed and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and wait for it, and it's not really that big of a deal. When you're public land hunting in like Hocking County, Ohio, you're looking at acorn trees. Acorn trees produce wonderful food for deer, especially for bucks that don't like to be out in the open, and they like to stay in thick stuff. They might pop out, eat some acorns and stuff like that, browse a little bit, and then go right back into your thickets and stuff like that. But acorns get to a point where, or oak trees get to a point where they've dropped all their acorns. That food source is no longer available. So you have to figure out when those trees are dropping their food, and then get in there and really do that. But you don't know if a deer is doing that in the day or the night, or even if they're doing it at all. Like, those acorns just could be dropping on the ground. So for me, it's all theoretical. Like, you can see deer trails everywhere, but you don't know if that's an old trail, a new trail, or anything like that, unless you actually get down there and see like fresh poop and stuff like that. But then again, it's just, everything is theoretical until you see that actual animal using
Yeah.
that trail or that food source and stuff like that. Of course, there's people that have cameras all over the place and shit like that, and they can literally time it to where it's just like at last light, this massive buck pops out of this spot, like clockwork, and then you can people literally do that where they like time it, where it's just like, I don't even need to be I get to my stand 15 minutes before it happens, get settled, deer pops out, bang,
Boom, bang, done.
but it's a wildly different kind of hunting, and I'd be interested to know if you, as a Western hunter, woohoo, fuck yeah, dude. I'd be interested to know if you, as a Western hunter,
Could deal with that shit.
no, I think you'd be able to do it. I really do. I'll tell you what. The thing about eastern whitetail that became a problem with me, if you start to get cold, your body starts to like lock up. Like, for me, it's my hips. Hips get real tight, and then you're sitting there. You can't get up and stretch or do anything. Like, you're literally confined to a tree, and you can find the most comfortable tree ever, and you're still like, I'm still
You're stuck.
It's almost like you're up in a tree and you're stuck in a phone box,
Yeah.
a phone booth or something like that, and you're just hunkered in, and it's the cold exacerbates all of that. So you'll start to get stiff and stuff like that, and then, like, when the time comes, like pulling that bow, I'll tell you what, it might be the hardest thing you've ever done. You talk about snap, crackle, pop, stuff like that. But the other thing that I would be interested to notice from you, because I haven't had this experience yet, because I haven't killed any deer out here. The adrenaline dump, I've heard, is different. So, and what I mean by this is that when you are eastern whitetail hunting, you go from 0 to 100 in literally a millisecond, because you're sitting there, you're bored, you're cold. You're looking around, and then all of a sudden a deer will pop up out of fucking nowhere 30 yards away. And it's like, oh my God, I've been waiting weeks for this. And so everything, like you get this surge of just adrenaline. And then you, after you execute the shot, like you have to put your bow back on the stand because you'll shake. I've shot a deer before and literally uncontrollably, like I'm having a seizure. It's and I have it on video where you can hear it in my voice. It's just like, oh my God, and it's like it's so crazy. But I don't know if that's different from Western hunting, because you see a deer and you're like, holy shit, there's a deer, and then you have to do the work to get up to it and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's different. I just talked for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, straight. But, well, I could see where you're coming from on that one. But when you're stalking up on a deer, your adrenaline's going that whole time. You spot that deer, you make a plan. There are times when you look at a deer and you're like, shit, I got to get to him now, because he's going to move and he's going to go somewhere. It's not like you can sit there and go, all right, I'm going to make a play on him and make a play in a day. There are times you look at it and he looks like he's moving. You're like, well, I got to go over that ridge, and I'm going to hopefully cut him off over here. So, I mean, you're huffing and puffing and thinking about it all while you're doing all that shit. So, I don't know.
Could be.
The last time I shot a deer like that, I shot a Coues deer that I stocked up on, and it was, I got in there, got around, had to go over 2 different ridges to play the wind and get into where he was. By the time I got there, I was so gassed and so tired. Pulling my bow back was next to impossible.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and we had another thing to deal with, heat. It was 90 degrees that day. And you're at 7,000 foot elevation. That will kick your ass quicker than anything.
I think that's different than what I'm describing.
It is.
So you're talking about being like physically exhausted and like, you know, doing like a sprint workout or something like that. I'm talking about an uncontrollable like hormone event.
But,
and I'll tell you what makes me think that this is different. That it might be a little bit different. So there was a deer that I got that like miraculously I saw coming from about 100 yards away, and it was a bachelor group of whitetails and stuff like that, and I saw them and I had that adrenaline dump and stuff like that, but it took them, I was thinking that they were gonna like walk right in. They stopped, browsed, stopped, browsed, stopped, browsed. It took them every bit of 45 minutes for them to go 100 yards. They had no idea I was there up in a tree. And by half an hour, I'm sort of like, I'm back to my normal state, like I'm bored. I'm just kind of like, it's almost like you're trying not to move, and then you're like, every step or every, you know, action you take is like, oh my God. And then by 30 minutes, you're just like, all right, what the fuck? When are these deer going to get over here? And all that worry is gone. And then they came right underneath my tree, and it was almost like, okay, pulled back, shot the deer, and I didn't get that shaken feeling. And I was like, it was almost like it had been like the initial adrenaline dump happened, and then my body was kind of like, you got this. So that's why I'm thinking that Western hunting might be like that. I don't know.
It's very similar to that, but there are times where you're sitting there and you're looking at deer and you're like, oh shit, are they actually going to come my way or something else like that? Because you can be sitting there bow hunting and you'll be like, Well, if they go take this draw, I'm fucked. If they take this draw, I get a shot. So you just sit there and you wait, you wait, you wait, you wait. You try to get yourself in position to get a shot. The chances of actually walking up on a deer and getting a shot with a bow, next to impossible. You know that. You've hunted out here the one time and know that you're not going to just walk up on a deer and see it and go, ooh, cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I really have no idea. It'll be interesting. If I don't draw Iowa, I may take Adam up on his proposal to go to Pennsylvania.
Oh, do that.
I mean, they're not big deer over there, but
There's some big deer in Pennsylvania.
where he's at, there's nothing big.
Yeah.
Just to do it. Even if I go kill a couple of does and fill the freezer up with some good
Those are
meat,
tasty, man.
you know.
Those are tasty.
Deer are tasty. That's
They
what I
are.
had for dinner last night. And what I'm having for dinner tonight. Because I don't know how to make a little bit of spaghetti sauce.
I'll tell you what. Tree stand hunting is the easiest to film. Because you don't need a long lens. I can get away with my 28 to 75
Yeah.
Tamarin. And I have a swing arm that attaches to the tree. That's, stabilizes it. And then all I have to do is, move that swing arm. And I'd like to because I got into filming my tree stand hunts. But I was actually able to get some shots on camera, and missed a bunch. But I think it'd be cool to film somebody on a tree stand hunt. It'd be awesome.
Just somebody else other than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, depending on what I decide. If I draw Iowa, I couldn't remember. I just got to look at it and see when a draw is. I don't think it's happened yet.
Probably not.
Hopefully not.
I'm kind of surprised that Iowa even has a draw.
For out-of-staters.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but then again, Ohio doesn't have a draw. But Ohio, the deer are so fucking plentiful. I mean,
Well,
now the license and the tag, like, I didn't know how good I had it in Ohio when it came to whitetail hunting. The tag's like $25 for an either sex tag, so you can take a buck or a doe. $25 tag over the counter, and then a license is, I don't know, like $60.
for an out-of-stater,
No, for in-stater.
that's not bad.
It's cheap, dude. $25 for a deer tag? You can get as many deer tags as you want. But you can only get a certain amount of deer because it goes by county and then state. So if I were to run over to Guernsey County and get my buck, okay? That's one. I can't get any more bucks because it's $1 per person statewide. And then I got, let's say it's a 3-deer county. I got a buck in Guernsey and then 2 does in Guernsey. That's 3. And your statewide limit is 5. I can roll over to Hocking County or something like that, get 2 more does. It's a 2-deer county. I've gotten 5. There you go. Fill the freezer. Now, that's super difficult to do. It's not like guaranteed or anything like that. But five tags. It's $125.
That's doable.
$125 for 5 deer.